Welcome all, Raymond for Stream Gamers once again. Microsoft 2024 is the topic that we're going to be discussing. Today I want to do a kind of a talking through video and kind of going through some of the core key elements that we're going to be able to experience in 2024. I will refer to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 as 2024 rather than saying the whole thing. These are the talking points. Pause your video and get a note and see what they are, or just follow along with me as I go through the talking points. Just a couple things of note. For all those people who haven't seen my videos and or maybe don't know this about me, I am semi-pro Microsoft Flight Simulator over any of the others. That's not to say that I think it's the best in every aspect, but I do believe that in general, overall visuals, flight characteristics, aircraft, the multiplayer and weather, and the list goes on and on and on. But I want to kind of go over some of the things that we have to look forward to and kind of address some of the core topics and what we could anticipate that we might see and might experience as we get into the world. Now, like 2020, 2024 has a couple of modules that are similar, i.e. the store and the flight map and all of that stuff. That's all similar, but we also have the career mode and we have the photo mode and we have other things in there. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over those because I think those have been kind of talked through to death. What I really want to talk about is some of the key characteristics of 2024 that are going to be different based on my research. Now, however, I say this is based on my research. By all means, if I have stated something that isn't true or isn't factual, by all means, down in the comment section is the place to kind of point that out, and we'll get either clarification and or correction, as it were. Okay, so let that aside, let's get started. Some of these topics we're going to spend a little bit more time on, and others we're going to kind of breeze through them fairly quickly. We might return back to them as a part of a talking point of another topic. Here we are departing Milford Sound. We're going to have an opportunity to see my New Zealand scenery for 2024, as well as the Grand Canyon scenery. Okay, so the first thing on topic is improved multi-threading to improve performance. So I've flown around in the world quite a bit. And where I understand, this is a stripped down world, and so it is not the true world in which we're going to actually see and be a part of, but it is a relatively decent comparison to what was in 2024, or what is in 2024 compared to 2020. And so multi-threading, for all those that don't know, I challenge you to go into Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 and go into the developers mode. You can go into general and then down where it says developer mode, turn it on. Turn that on and then go into, I wish I had gotten through this a little quicker, but there is a frame rate counter, and I can't remember exactly where it is. Source the internet, but you find it. When you do find that and bring that up, you're going to find that you're going to get this menu up, and it's going to give you like frame rate and that kind of stuff. The core that I want to point out here relative to this topic is look at your main thread. So your main thread is the thread in which 2020 is operating on, because 2020 doesn't use multi-threads or multi-core. We all talk about cores, but this is actually threading, not cores. Anyways, that's another topic. But just go look at that, and here what you're going to probably discover that you didn't know about your system, and that is the thread is in the red, and that red means you are thread bound. meaning you have no more CPU. You can put as much GPU to it as you want, but you have no more CPU to do the processing. And so that you've run the limit. More GPU doesn't help you in any shape or fashion. More RAM doesn't help you. It's the thread that is maxed out. So, improved multi-threading to improve the performance. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, what Microsoft has done is they've offloaded some of the tasks to other threads. And that's what multi-threading is. You have more threads. And so what you should see, what you should experience is a overall better performance. And I think this is going to be even more pronounced for some of the systems out there that are maybe running at the ragged edge of being able to power Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, let alone 2024. So there's that misconception that 2024 needs these huge resources, and will my sim power it? I've said it before in other videos. Just if your intentions is to get 2024 regardless and upgrade if necessary, then get 2024, install it on your current PC, and run it, and see that you may not need to do that $2,000-$3,000 computer upgrade that so many people think that they need to do. So our second topic is faster download and installation speeds. So I did the alpha edition. Clearly we're seeing it. The file I downloaded was 9 gigs. I've seen a number of videos out there recently kind of suggesting that bandwidth is going to be this huge problem because, look at, we used to have all this data on our computers and now we're having to download everything. I've heard terms called thin client being thrown around. Thin client and cloud access are two different things as far as I'm concerned, as far as I understand. So we are going to be streaming data via the cloud. We're not going to be operating as a thin client. That's to say that the application still resides on our computer. Just all of the data that's relevant to that area, the scenery, is going to be streamed to us. So in my testing, I checked bandwidth usages from various different places around the world that I flew in various different states, such as here where we're landing here in Martins Bay. The maximum amount of data that I was consuming or receiving was about 80 megabits per second. That's the maximum. Now, I also understand that when the first release comes out, it may be different. We may have to do more or less. The advantage to this is you're going to only download the core product, and you're only going to stream the scenery in which you fly around in a regular basis. And you can cache that so it's on your computer all the time, so you don't have to continuously download it all the time. So, are you going to consume more data? Now, if you are on a capped internet, that's to say that you have X number of gigabytes per month, then it is something for you to kind of consider. Should you move forward with this? But just be aware, whether you're on 2020 or 2024, you're consuming data. The world is a huge place, and you're downloading. Unless you fly in the same, 300 square-ish mile area all the time and never leave that area, then you probably aren't going to consume a lot of data. But like most of us, we fly all over the world, right? Okay, so improved aerodynamics and physical simulation. So, like the transition from FSX days into 2020 flight surfaces, there was multiple or many more flight surfaces that could act on the aircraft. One of those things is the turbulence from large jets. I've had it said to me, I wonder, will a Cessna 172 affect an aircraft just like an A320 or a 747? In the dev notes, they have indicated that is not the case. Turbulence will be specific to the aircraft size. So, like helicopters and light aviation, or light GA aircraft, they're going to have an effect, but they're not going to have a huge effect on a jetliner. However, if you go the other way around, when you depart on a runway with a 777 or a 787 or A350, 330, 340, and you take off and you come up in behind that a minute after that guy's taken off, that jet wash thing is going to still be there on the runway, and you're going to have a heck of a time with it. So just be aware that that is a thing, and I'm very excited for it. I'm really excited for that kind of system to be out there. So let's move on to the next one. Improved aircraft systems, including electrical, fuel, and hydraulics. So the vast majority of aircrafts that were initially released in 2020 were flyable, but I dare say they were far. My little crash episode there. I dare say they were a far cry from what I was hopeful it would be. And we learned very quickly that a lot of the aircraft, the default aircraft, were flyable. They flew, but they were missing a lot of systems, a lot of immersion in there, i.e., the radios, the fuel pumps, and all of the intricate details of actually starting up a jetliner or a GA aircraft. So that all that stuff has been greatly improved. Now I'll say that 2020 has done a good job with doubling back on some of the aircraft, and they've done a really good job of that. So I'm doing a series on the 2024 aircrafts and what they actually are and that kind of stuff, and some of the unique things about it, things that most of us don't maybe even realize exists, myself included. I have a YouTube video out there on 2020 for the Grumman Goose G21. Check it out. It was, for me, it was a huge eye opener. But so that's kind of aircraft systems and electricals, and it's just they're going to be way more in depth, and we're going to be able to go very deep into the startup processes and realism, and it's just adding another level of immersion and that kind of stuff. To that point, new failure and wear and tear systems. So a lot of the pay-aware aircraft, i.e. PMDG, Phoenix, they have a wear and tear system on their aircraft, and that's to say that engines wear and oil needs to be replaced, and there needs to be serviceability on these aircraft like they would be in real life, adding that real world immersion that we're talking about. So that is coming to the vast majority of aircraft. So says the devs, and I got to believe that is the case. I have no reason to think that it isn't. So look forward to not getting in the aircraft and mashing the throttle full out, over revving it, overheating it, and the like. All of that stuff will have an impact, and you'll need to be mindful of that impact that is there. The deeper and wider avionics systems, again, I think that's just more of the same kind of stuff, where you can dig deeper into the avionics, and you can fine tune them. I won't spend a lot of time on that because I didn't fully understand some of what they were driving at, but what I got from that was in the research that I've done. So previous FMCs, MCDUs, and so forth, they didn't have this in-depth being able to interact with it closer to what real-world pilots would, right? They just didn't have that. And so, the new aircraft are going to have that more in-depth avionics systems built into it. Cockpit and tablet. So cockpit and tablet, it used to be, wow, isn't that beautiful scenery? I'm mesmerized each time I see this Grand Canyon scenery. I just find it, yeah, mesmerizing. Right. Where were we? Cockpit. So the cockpit tablets, a good majority of 2020 aircraft don't have it. Now, a lot of the third-party developers are actually putting them in there, which is good. But these, just move this up just a whisker. There we go. The good majority of the aircrafts don't actually have them, the default aircraft, and so I guess Sobo and Microsoft have actually seen where it's important to put these tablets in, and I dare say in the real world. I mean, I'm not a pilot. I'm just not. But I would imagine if I were, I would have my iPad there beside me with all of my, tools and systems that I use, as many of them as I could in the sim, because I think some of those would be transferable to the real world aviation. And so I'd want to have a tablet to do just that, whereas 2020 you don't have that, and a lot of the aircraft, for example, you get into a 172 and you fire it up, or a 152. Let's even think about 152 that doesn't have the G1000 in it. So you don't have that. Well, I would for sure have my phone, which would give me Google Maps and that kind of stuff, right? So I think what they've realized is tablets are a thing and people want them. Because third-party developers are actually putting it in. That kind of goes to, how the flight community or the sim community has really pushed the envelope like they have, and Microsoft is hearing us. They're hearing us and saying, "Hey, this is important. This is important. This is important." So they're doing that. Worldwide obstacles. Things like smokestacks, cell towers, internet, all of those towers all over the place. There are add-ons for it, but this is going to become default in the sim. And whether or not this system, and there is the next 4 systems that we're going to talk about, whether or not those are actually legitimately going to be better than some of the third-party counterparts, I guess it remains to be seen. I think it remains to be seen. I think we should be mindful of the fact that these systems that we have, the new systems that we're getting, are there going to be bugs in them? Listen, anybody who has any history in the simming world through the Microsoft simulator has got to by now realize that there hasn't been a sim that I have used that doesn't have bugs in it, and that is not perfect out of the box, but most importantly, it will get better. So just think back for a moment in time when Microsoft 2020 came out and the frustrations that you had with various different systems that weren't working properly, crash the desktops and so, all those things. And now go fly your 2020 sim right now and think about the number of things that frustrate you about it. I can almost be assured that number has greatly decreased. I know it has for me. So, maybe that's different for me. I don't know. But, so just be mindful that, that not everything's going to be perfect out of the gate. And there's going to be some learning curve to it that we're going to have to learn. So, for example, off on a little tangent here, the flight dynamics. So initially when I got 2024, I took off and flew, and I felt like, holy smokes, the flight dynamics are just so totally wrong. They're so totally different than what they were in 2020. Well, the truth be known, it wasn't so much the flight dynamics, it was the control sensitivities that were defaulted in 2024, which are much different than what I fly in 2020. And I had to tune them in to get it similar like. And then I found myself being able to fly 2024 pretty comfortably. All right. So vertical obstacles like smokestacks and all the stacks around the world, city nearby where I live, there's a rail yard there, and there's a number of smokestacks in there. Natively in 2020, they don't exist. Presumably in 2024, they're going to. Worldwide oil rigs. This for me is a really interesting thing. You know, so all of the oil rigs that are around the world are going to be in the sim. And they're supposedly going to be in their right locations. I haven't seen any, but I'm hopeful that the modeling will be good and the detail will be good. I'm hopeful they will. A realistic Raymond realizes that they may not be as nice as I would like them to be. However, that'll probably change over time too. But I'm looking forward to being able to take a helicopter out there and land on them. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fantastic. Worldwide glider airports, I should say. So we're starting to see, or we have been for a little while, seeing gliders in 2020, and they've just amped that up to the next level in 2024. They've gone around and gathered up all of the gliding airports around the world, and they've put them into the sim. And they've done an amazing job. I mean, you just listen to some of the dev, videos and stuff like that, and what they did in order to get this done. It's mind blowing that they've gone to this level of detail. But nothing is worth doing unless you're going to do it all the way in my world, and I think that's what they're doing. Along with the gliders, it kind of takes us back to the aerodynamics and the real world weather and all of those things, getting more realistic. Flying a glider, let's say, over the side of a mountain and being able to pick up the updraft over the top of that mountain, and likewise the downdrafts and being careful for that in a glider. I'm not a huge gliding person. However, in 2024, I am going to get involved in it. I've seen a number of videos in real gliding pilots that are out there gliding around, and I just think it's fascinating. And so my intentions are to do just that, is to get involved. Worldwide heliports, helicopter ports. Similar to the gliding airports, they've gone around the world and they have found all these obscure helicopter port landing spots around the world, and they've put them all into the sim. And so for you helicopter pilots, which I'm not a huge one, I do fly helicopters from time to time, but I'm just not a huge helicopter guy. But for you guys that love helicopters, I think this is going to be absolutely amazing, astonishing. I think you guys are just going to be blown away by all the places that you can fly around. For example, fly around New York, for example, is a good example of that. There's helicopter pads everywhere in New York. Not in 2020, there isn't. But in 2024, there's going to be everywhere. There's going to be helicopter pads. You're going to be able to hop from one building to the next building, to the next building, to this spot, to that hospital, to this hospital. I think it's just going to be phenomenal. And I will be doing that kind of thing as well. I'm going to talk just ever so briefly about a few other topics that aren't on this list. So let's kind of discuss a few things like the career mode, for example. So the career mode, I had an opportunity to begin the career mode briefly, and I bring this up because I want everybody to understand it's not going to be perfect, and I understand. So my home airport, CKK7 is my home airport. I wanted to do the career mode out of CKK7, and so that's where I began the career mode. Now, in the career mode, you start up, you do an introductory thing, you get an aircraft, and your partner there is there helping you along, and you take off, and life is grand. At the end of it, he basically says he'll take the aircraft and take control and bring it back to the airport, and then you begin your career. Well, it was crashing all the time. It was just getting a black screen, and it wasn't actually going back to the other airport. I ended up picking a different airport close by as well, and that one worked famously. So that's a thing where we have to acknowledge and understand that not everything is going to be perfect, right? So just be aware of that. But I will say this too. I think the career mode is going to be fantastic. You know, I think it's going to be amazing. Just think about, you know, for a person who has limited experience in flying and kind of wants to kind of go through that process to see what it might be like. Now, this is in no way to say that Microsoft's getting your pilot's license is anywhere near the same in the real world, but it gives you a look at what the process of that actually is, right? I just think it's absolutely amazing. You know, so now we're going to talk about some things in which we didn't have up on the screen, and that is the static world, the living world, and the dynamic world, or dynamic world, okay? So what is the static world? Well, that's the world in which we see, for example, the scenery in which we're seeing right now. So we've got improved ground details right down to pebbles. It's literally, you can see pebbles. If I were to land here, you would be able to see little pebbles. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. 3D tessellated ground materials. I'm not sure exactly what that actually means. Enhanced 3D trees and greatly increased amounts of that. It's very evident if you look around almost anywhere in my Vancouver video, my Vancouver area video, which you're going to be able to see some of that scenery here shortly. It's very evident that's a big thing. They've done some really, really amazing things with that. You know, the improved cliffs. Just look at what you're seeing. You know, in the Grand Canyon. Just take a look at what you're seeing. It's crazy. The living world. These are things like animals. So animal herds and migrations, worldwide live shipping traffic. The accuracy of live traffic, and model and liveries. Now, we all know models and liveries have not been 2020's strong suit. How often you've been on the runway and your friend is flying a DC-3 and you see him in an A320. As frustrating as that is, the hope here is that this is being addressed, that this is being dealt with. I'm hopeful. I guess we'll wait and find out, right? So, where were we? Improved vehicle traffic. So the traffic you're going to see is going to be improved upon. Probably more accurate, and the cars traveling around a little bit better. Dynamic world, full seasons. So we're going to be able to see the whole scope of different seasons, all four of them. And we are seeing that. The Aurora Borealis, tornadoes and storms. All of that is going to be in 2024. So for you people who are on the fence about 2024, I hope this has helped. I hope this is kind of giving you some quick look at what is going on in 2024 and the exciting part of it. I'm hopeful it has. My name is Raymond. This is Stream Gamers. I look forward to your comments and your ideas and thoughts. Go ahead, put them in the comment section below. Give us a like. Hit the notification bell. All those wonderful things that help a YouTube channel grow and get bigger and better. At the end of the day, that is my hope. That is what I'm attempting to try to do, and that's to grow my channel. For those that have been following me, I've had a YouTube channel for a number of years. I just haven't done much with it. Right. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Be kind. Enjoy life. Play some games. Just enjoy life. Do what you do, but most importantly, enjoy life. I'm going to let this video run through a little bit, and we'll get it to a natural stopping point, and we'll call that a day. I'm excited for 2024. I hope you guys are too. If you have any questions, in the comment section. Bye-bye now.